Hello, good evening, everyone. Welcome to the midweek edition of Business Live. Coming up in the next 30 minutes, energy expert Benjamin Isiah urges the government to conduct a thorough technical appraisal of Springfield Exploration and Production Limited stake in the West Cape 3 Points Block 2 before proceeding with any takeover plans.
So now, the industry, including SEMSA, doesn't have much information with respect to its appraisal figures. So that is a very serious issue that government has to take on when taking over this particular field, because at the end of the day, it has to be value for money.
What's government's rationale behind considering a state-led takeover of Springfield stake, and what are the expected outcomes? We shall be finding out soon. Also in this bulletin, implementation of proposed VAT reforms and tax relief set to take off from January 1, 2026.
Hoping and expecting that we will get parliamentary approval before they rise for the Christmas season, and hoping that the president will also be able to assent to it. So if all these plans goes well, we will expect that the implementation should start.
Plus, at the heart of Tekura's 25-year journey is Audrey Forson, who is reimagining Ghanaian design for the world. On the Joy Business Van today, she shares her experience at the helm of the family business. We have details of this and more lined up for you. Stay on. Thanks so much for your company. I am Pius Kujobaka. And look now at our stories. Energy expert Benjamin Isiah is urging the government to conduct a thorough technical appraisal of Springfield Exploration and Production Limited stake in the West Cape 3 Points Block 2 before proceeding with any takeover plans. According to him, it is important for a comprehensive evaluation to be done to ensure any decisions made are in the best interest of Ghana's petroleum resources. He spoke earlier on the marketplace.
So now, the industry, including SEMSA, doesn't have much information with respect to its appraisal figures. So that is a very serious issue that government has to take on when taking over this particular field, because at the end of the day, it has to be value for money. And if you don't know the appraisal figures and government goes to take over this particular field, and at the end of the day, it happens that we don't get the yield that we want to get, it means that government may commit certain resources that will incur higher risk or incur debt to us compared to giving us the needed value for money or revenue we need. So I think appraisal is very necessary to reduce the risks and also ensure that there's value for money in this particular contract. Now, with respect to your question in terms of commercialization, I think Springfield and government, I think the government wants to take over, but in taking over, Springfield must also communicate to Ghanaians the kind of takeover, whether there's going to be 100% takeover by government or maybe a 50-50% takeover, and what kind of investment government is bringing in to take over this particular field. At the end of the day, it shouldn't be in a case where Springfield benefits and Ghana doesn't benefit, because we've seen such arrangement before, where at the end of the day, these arrangements, for example, one arrangement that Anadako wanted to sell, or Aka Energy wanted to sell to Ghana, at the end of the day, we bought it $1. So we must appraise, get the right figures, and if there's value for money, we go into it. If there's no value for money, we leave this particular project for Springfield to continue.
And I want to find out why government is interested in Springfield Exploration and Production Limited stake in the West Cape 3 Points Block 2. I want to explore that as well. Joining us via Zoom is the technical advisor to the Minister and GPP2 project focal point at the Ministry of Energy and Green Transition, Dr. Yusuf Sulemana. Thank you so much, sir, for staying on to speak to us here on Business Live. And first of all, I want to understand the rationale behind considering a state-led takeover of Springfield stake and what are the expected outcomes?
Yeah, thank you very much. Good evening to you, Pius, and to your cherished listeners and viewers in Ghana and across the globe. Yeah, thank you for having me. Yes, Pius, if you look at Ghana's production profile, you will notice that the outlook is not that good. From 2019 up to date, we've been having consistent decline. We are talking about 2019, we're doing somewhere 71 million, barrels per stream day, and now, total volume produced, and now we are doing about 36. That shows that we have consistent decline, over 50%, and that's a cause to worry. So this is one of the aspects that government is looking at through the able leadership of John Jinapo in this regard. So it's putting all other options in place, because if you have a field, our fields that consistently decline in a declining mode, you have to explore all possible avenues. So and two reasons might be accountable for that. Number one, you notice that our fields are aging, and so we haven't had any other field that is coming. We have only two fields, operated by three players, ENI for the OCTP field, and then the Jubilee Partners, that is 10 and 10, and then the Jubilee, the Talo field, that is 10, and then the Jubilee. And these are the three fields that we have. And if you notice, Jubilee and 10 consistently, in fact, ENI is largely gas. They also produce some liquids. And so we have to arrest this decline. Unfortunately, if you look at Ghana production portfolio, like I mentioned, usually when you reach your plateau, you need a massive amount of investment to be able to stay on the plateau for an elongated period of time before you begin to decline. Declining is a normal thing, but if you look at ours, it was a bit steep and then it started to decline. So this is one of the ways by which the government, through the Energy Ministry, is trying to arrest that. Now we have Springfield, that is a field that is available for government to take, to explore. And if you notice Springfield and its potential, they put up something beautiful. But of course, if government is taking it, that is why if you look at the release is talking about setting up a very competent transaction advisory and probably a consultant to be able to dig into to make sure that we have, the asset is valued as it is. We are not just going to pick it like that. So yes, the reason is simple. It's just one of the ways that we are trying to explore to be able to increase our production portfolio, to arrest the decline. A potential to add a third competitive field within the rim, within our production portfolio.
And I appreciate that information, Yusuf Sulemana. But again, has government conducted a thorough technical appraisal like Benjamin Isia is proposing?
Yeah, sure. Nobody will take field without doing that. And if you look at the release, it clearly mentioned that even though Springfield may produce a data, so if somebody is selling out something to you, he will certainly give you a data to analyze. So, government is leaving nothing to chance. And that is why if you look at the release, like I mentioned, there's going to be a value for money audit. When I say value for money audit, it's not the normal audit. It's a transactional advisory body and a consultant with the state-of-art technology and the technical know-how to be able to assess what Springfield has, whether it is worth what we're going to take or not. So yes, it's not just going to be taken on the face value or on top of the table. There's going to be a due diligence that's going to be done to make sure that, the asset is valued as it is. Other than that, anything short of that, then we might not be doing ourselves good. But it's good that the release mentioned that, yes, that's going to be done. And that's certainly going to be done and to ensure that we have value for money. Pius.
What are the estimated costs associated with the takeover and how will it be funded?
Yeah, so all will come, it's difficult to tell now, of course, all will come from, that's why we have transaction advisor and that of consultancy, that all those values will come when we do that. At the moment, you can't place any value. You may be wrong. It may be too high, it may be too low. So yes, all those details will come after the transaction advisor and then the consultancy committee take Springfield stake and look at it and then see whether it is something that Ghana is needed. Ghana needs to acquire or not. But if you look at Springfield and you remember the history behind that. With ENI in terms of the unitization tussle. Springfield, I believe the field could have potential, but of course, I don't want to preempt what's going to be done. And that's what government is sensing, that this field could have potential. We only need to require investment. And the good thing is that if government is able, if government assess that and it has value for money and government is able to acquire that, I can tell you that a lot of investors are going to run to partner with government. If you notice, even oil prices not so good, and oil prices not so good, with the enabling environment created by government, thanks to the able leadership of His Excellency John Dramani Mahama and that of our Energy Minister John Jinapor. You notice that we have a lot of investors very much interested in Ghana oil fields. Pius, what normally drives investors into oil fields is because of oil prices. But oil prices I can't say they are so good. They are so good, but yet investors are taking so much interest in that. So if this field proves worthy of buying or taking or acquiring, I can tell you that we're going to have investors even jumping into that to partner with government to be able to explore and maximize the potential. And at the end of the day, we need the liquid volumes to be able to beef up our production portfolio.
And in a minute, if you can do this for me, yes, you've spoken about its impact on investor confidence, etc. But what about our energy security needs?
Yeah, so that's a very good one. You see, the upstream is the heart of energy industry, and maybe people may not realize that. If your upstream is declining, you have every cause to be worried. The upstream, what you see in the downstream, the activities in the downstream largely depends on the upstream. That is in situations where the upstream is supposed to be intricately linked to the downstream. Because whatever we have at the downstream is coming from the upstream. And so that is why we are leaving no stone unturned to arrest this decline. Bear in mind, voting basin is also on the horizon within the third quarter of 2026. Hopefully, with all this experiment that we are doing, with all this attempt that we are doing, I am sure we're going to pretty arrest the decline. And if you're able to do that and elongate the plateau, Pius, I think it's going to be good. And the upstream is the backbone of every industry if you want to achieve your energy security.
Very well. Thank you so much, Dr. Yusuf Suleiman. Always a delight speaking to you here on Business Live. I'm grateful. Now, away from that, the Ghana Revenue Authority is hopeful Parliament will give the green light to the new VAT amendment bill before Christmas, paving the way for full implementation of the country's revised value-added tax regime on January 1, 2026. Speaking at the PwC Post-Budget Forum here in Accra, Commissioner General Dr. Anthony Sapon says Parliament has already begun deliberations on the proposed reforms. More in this report.
The PwC 2026 Budget Digest Forum, the Commissioner General of the Ghana Revenue Authority, Anthony Kwesi Sapon, said early approval is crucial to ensuring a smooth transition into the new system, which aims to simplify VAT administration, strengthen compliance, and reduce the tax burden on businesses.
So in respect of the VAT, the reforms that we are doing, the bill is currently before Parliament. Actually, from here, Parliament has started looking at it at 10 a.m. So from here, I'm going straight to join my team to make sure that we are responding to their questions and explaining. We are hoping and expecting that we will get parliamentary approval before they rise for the Christmas season, and hoping that the president will also be able to assent to it. So if all these plans goes well, we will expect that the implementation should start 1st January 2026.
Country senior partner at PwC Ghana, Vish Ashab, speaking to Joy Business on the sidelines of the event, described the 2026 budget as satisfactory.
We think that it's broadly satisfactory. Of course, what's happening now is there's a bill that's being under consideration by Parliament. So we wait to see the final details of the act. But the thrust of the whole reform effort, based on what the business community has been telling us, is that we want the system to be simplified. A lot of the time it's not that people don't want to comply, it's because the systems get so complicated that it makes compliance difficult to achieve. So yes, we think it's a very big step in the right direction, in that if this can be passed into law, then there'll be greater transparency, greater simplification of the system, which will also encourage better compliance and hopefully more revenue.
The VAT reforms form part of government's broader strategy to modernize the tax system, improve revenue mobilization, and support economic recovery in 2025 and beyond.
You're still watching Business Life. We have the Joy Business Van for you after this break. Hello, welcome back to Business Life. Let's now take the Joy Business Van. For 25 years, Tekura has carved a space where Ghanaian heritage meets modern design. Now, at the helm of the family business, taking over from her parents, Audrey Forson is leading the brand into a new era, one defined by resilience, reinvention, and the enduring power of storytelling. Here's the second part of our series on the Joy Business Van, tracing the journey of Tekura.
For 25 years, Tekura has grown from a small family vision into one of Ghana's most celebrated design brands, a testament to the passion, creativity, and resilience of its founders, Josephine and Emmanuel Forson. Their commitment to sustainability and cultural craftsmanship laid a powerful foundation, but every legacy needs a torchbearer, someone to carry the story forward. And today, that responsibility and opportunity rests with the next generation. This is where their daughter, Audrey Forson, steps in to shape Tekura's future. So what was it like taking over the reins of a family business as a young woman?
It was quite the experience. It was a process. It took a number of years, and so your question is making me now think deeply about every single day that I experience it. But I will say that it was a tough decision I had to make personally, that I would want to pursue such a path, because it's a path of leadership, and then it required certain responsibilities and sacrifices, etc. But then being a creative, I was enjoying the work process so much so that I took it lightly, the responsibility I was going to put on myself. I had the right resources available. So my father, who is an accountant, and then my mother, who had worked in the craft space for the longest time, together they gave me the support system that I need. So I have daddy and mommy on my side, and then I have the muscle to run Tekura. I also had some of their staff at the time, the accountants, the artisans who guided me. So my journey really started from 2008 when I came in as an intern, and there was a lot of guidance and support and lessons taught to me, which would in the future prepare me for this role. So I didn't exactly get up and say, I want to take over Tekura, but it was a process. I realized that the work I was doing was leading me towards that path, and so I had to embrace it. My parents had to embrace it, the entire business, the staff, everybody had to embrace it, and then we tried to work around making it a smooth transition.
For Audrey, this was more than a family legacy. It's a responsibility to push Ghanaian design to new heights while staying grounded in the values her parents built the company on. Audrey grew up surrounded by the rhythm of the workshop, watching artisans transform discarded wood into pieces that told stories. Now she brings her own perspective, one shaped by modern design, global trends, and a deep appreciation for local craft.
I think by 2015, everybody had embraced the fact that I was the new face of Tekura's leadership. And for me as well, some of the things, or milestones for my leadership will be restructuring, in the sense that if you take product designs, for instance, recategorizing our products so that they were properly appreciated by the market, and then we could also offer these products at the right prices, not to lose out in the market. We had struggled with that in the early days, but I'm grateful for the MBA I went to pursue, helped me put in some of these measures.
And one of the defining moments of her leadership came when Tekura's iconic djembe stools were featured in the blockbuster film Black Panther, a milestone that not only elevated the brand's global visibility, but also celebrated Ghanaian craftsmanship on one of the world's biggest stages.
It was a collaboration with a partner in New York who represents Tekura, the Tekura brand, to the end user. So they take charge of the retail aspect of the business. So this collaboration would start with a WhatsApp call in 2016, and then it will end up, well, it's still ongoing, but it will get to the point where our djembe tables are featured in a movie as a result. So those are some of the great moves that at the time I didn't think they would lead to what they led to, but I thought it would be good for business, right? And then fortunately they become what they become.
Under Audrey's leadership, Tekura is evolving. She is expanding the brand's creative direction, strengthening sustainability practices, and introducing new collections aimed at both local and international markets.
In 2023, we started a new arm of the business. So having been in the business for, now it's 16 years, but for that long, right, you look for new models of earning income. You look at creative ways of promoting your product. And so we set up the Tekura Home arm of the business, which will focus on interior decoration and then make or redirect our products to that market. So instead of maybe just focusing on exports, we were looking at on the local front within the sub-region, marketing our products to architects and interior designers, people and retailers in the interior design and, or let's say the built environment value chain as a new market opportunity. And that has also been quite successful, still in the early stages, but it has great prospects.
But Tekura's journey has not been without challenges. A devastating fire on Christmas Eve in 2023 tested the resilience of the team and the brand itself. The story continues next time.
I go for a run with my sister on Legon campus, and I get a call from, typically I don't even carry my phone, but that day, for some reason, I took my phone. When I returned from my work, I saw that my phone was buzzing. So I picked up, my PA had called me and she told me the workshop had burned to the ground. And I mean, I was just sitting in the car for the longest time, not sure. And my sister was next to me, she's like, no, it can't be, like, she's serious, like, what does she mean?
Gone by was the Joy Business Van, but you can get more stories when you log on to myjoyonline.com/business. There you go. GRAI January 1, 2026 rollout for VAT reforms as Parliament races to approve bill before Christmas. And we brought you that story here on Business Live. We always have stories for you when you log on to myjoyonline.com/business. Always a delight serving you. I am Pius Kujubaka.